Alright. What is good, my lovely freaking subjects? What's going down? You know, it's like 12 where I'm at. So, it's gonna be another midnight video. Yeah, a video I posted around midnight. I know, I'm a horrible human being. Leave me alone. Nah, I'm just playing with y'all. Anyway, so today we're going to be doing what if Deku was the Ashen One, or the Bearer of the Flame, or you know what, screw it. He's gonna be a Dark Souls character, okay? He's going to be the Bearer of Flame. Now, if you've never heard of Dark Souls, which I would be astonished, if you've never even heard of Dark Souls, I don't know what to say. It is literally the hardest combat-oriented game on the planet. Alright? Now, personally, I've played 3 From Software games. Only 3, and I haven't played all of the Dark Souls trilogy, alright? Because the lore just confuses me. It's not that it confuses me, I know essentially what, they're going to do. Basically, if you don't know the lore, I'm gonna sum it up in like a few sentences. See, there is this thing called the Fire of Ages. I think that's its name. I have no idea. Anyway, the Fire of Ages is a very powerful thing. It allows the human civilization to flourish. Now, in the first game, dragons were attacking it. So, the gods had decided to bestow the power of flame onto 4 creatures. One was a human. Was it 4 or was it 3? No, wait. The dragons came first, then the fire, which then gave birth to the humans and the undead. The undead, the leader of the undead got the power of death, The human leader got the power of, what is it called? I think it's called blessings. There was a spider lady who got pyromancy, and then a 4th guy, which I don't know. Anyway, in the 3rd game, the fire is starting to dwindle again. And every time a Lord of Cinder was awoken, he was like, "Nah, man, just let the fire die out. I've done this way too many times now. Just let it die." Right? And, the old gods are like, "Oh no, we need to keep the fire going. What do we do?" So they summon people, the undead, who have never been able to restart the fire. Now, the problem with this is the fact that none of the said individuals, like I said, have been able to restart the fire. And basically, Izuku is one of the last ones summoned in the Dark Souls world. Now, I'm gonna say he maxed out all of his stats, right? 999, 99, and everything. And, he proceeds to kill the final boss. The Soul of Cinder, or whatever. Now, what happens next, I'm going to throw just everything out of craziness. Now, when Izuku goes to touch the fire, or the undead version of Izuku goes to touch the fire, it turns green. Okay? Now, when it turns green, it proceeds to... You know the sun? Yeah, it proceeds to completely be engulfed in green fire. Which then, like, very much so like in the first game, completely explodes outward, consuming everything. Now, instead of like the first game and all the other games where you're able to reignite the fire, it just doesn't explode everywhere. See, what it doesn't explode to a certain area around Izuku. See, it engulfs the entire planet, or the entire Dark Souls universe. Now, what I'm gonna say happened is, this gave the entire universe a reset. Then, but since Izuku ate the fire, or became the last bearer, his cursed mark turned green. You know, the ring of fire that you get in the Dark Souls games? That allows you to return to the last part of your bonfire you rested at, but you lose all your souls. See, that's what Izuku has. But it's now green. You know, when it starts changing, you know, Izuku, I'm gonna say he was pretty much full hollow at this point. But he still had the flame of, you know, he was going to do this. He didn't know why, but he wanted to save everything. He wanted to save everyone. Now, I'm gonna lay down right quick. Itch. Anyway, when Izuku went to go, you know, he started, I'm gonna say, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna go with my original plot idea for this. We're gonna do a time skip, okay? Of about 1,000 years. And then humans started repopulating the earth. No demons. No one even knew of the old fire. They just you know, the earth started to repopulate itself. The universe began to reconfigure itself into the My Heroverse, with Izuku's ashes spreading to everything. Now, some people did find out that there was a sarcophagus. We're just gonna say that someone, somehow, someway, got a sarcophagus out of the center of the earth. Now, they can't open it. There's no way they can open it, alright? It has refused to open, so they put it in a natural history museum because it said 1,000 years, 1,000 days, then the ash will rise again. When this day arrives, the gates of hell will rise. And I'm using that as in, like, the actual meaning, like the actual place, and not like, you know, a curse word. Because it's not a curse word, it's a place in the Bible. The gates of the underworld shall... Now I gotta restart. No one ever is gonna find out about this. Just don't tell anyone, okay? Okay. When this day shall come, the ashes of the olden one will form, will converge. All of the power will become a swarm. Now, when they read this, no one could figure out its meaning. Until, Nezu came along and was like, when was this sarcophagus located and brought out? They were like, wait a minute, we never did carbon datings on it, because, they're dumb. I'm gonna say they forgot to. It's over 1,000 years old. 1,000 years. 1,000 days. And I'm gonna say they were running up short on a week before 1,000 days were up. And they were like, so was the prophecy wrong? Was something happen within a week? They're preparing for the worst. Little do they know, the prophecy signals the re-immersion of the flame. Now, I'm gonna say Izuku has absorbed all of the flame and put it inside of his body. So essentially, he is the first fire. Which I'm gonna give him, fire, the ability of miracles. That's what they call it. Miracles, not blessings. Miracles. Blessings, not blessings. Miracles, pyromancy. What's the undead one? I'm just gonna call it curses. Curses, and then heresy. Now, heresy magic is a totally different boat. Basically, screw it. He can't use heresy magic. And then he can use the first flame magic. Now, the first flame magic is vastly different to most of other things. Now, what the first flame magic, and he has ash manipulation. And I'm gonna say, he can just, since his body was used to make the new universe, which I'm gonna say, the Dark Souls universe was at least 100 times bigger than the My Hero universe. So, basically, Izuku was a Titan, and everyone else, Dark Souls Izuku was a the Colossal Titan compared to normal Izuku as like a midget. That's the size difference of their universe. So, by him absorbing all of the fire and him exploding into ash, basically the entire My Heroverse is made of his ash. That includes people. Nah, I'm just playing. People, well, he can't control the ash within people. Also, he's not gonna be able to talk for a little while, I guess, because, I don't know, I just don't want him to be like, why am I here? None of that. But, within, it was the last day before the week was up and the prophecy would begin. Then they noticed a coffin that is pitch black with white engravings. Also, if you're wondering who wrote the engravings, it was just something that kind of happened. You know what, screw it, I'm gonna make it to where I did that. I was the one who did that. I was like, well, if I wanted to, I could just stop this, but I'm gonna have fun. You're going here now. You're going to be the cause of this, and now you're okay. So yeah, my character who is just an omnipotent thing. Just pops in and out of all the universes. Anyway. So I'm gonna say, Izuku's coffin begins to pull green sparks out of the air near it, beginning to ignite the empty spaces. And then Nezu had the sudden urge to read what was on the side. No one else got this urge, it was only Nezu. No, it wasn't even Nezu. I'm gonna say, they had accidentally let a group of students in. And one of the students was stupid enough to be like, oh hey, I'm gonna read what's on this. Bakugo. Momo runs up to him and tries to stop him. Most of the girls were like, everyone was like, this is a bad idea, Bakugo. He was like, what, you saying I can't take whatever comes out of this? It's probably rotten in dust and turn already rotten to nothing but bone. Heck, I bet it's so brittle it would turn to ash. Now, Izuku is wearing armor to where his, like the cover armor on the box of Dark Souls 3. That's essentially the armor he's wearing. But, instead there's a green circle on the center going down, with the line going down like in the endgame, scenes? Yeah, that's what the thing looks like. And no one can see his eyes or mouth or nothing, not even his hair. I'm gonna say he has the insignia of a phoenix on his on the right side of his face, because why not? That just scared the crap out of me. I'm just gonna... I guess I'm just gonna lay on my bed and make this. Leave my light on. My door came open. That was weird. Anyway. So, I'm gonna say, once Izuku was... he started hearing things outside of his coffin. He was like, what's going on? Also, he has, all of his weapons are... Screw it. The coffin is made of all of the ash he can control. And he can make the ash turn into armor. And all of his weapons and stuff. And he's collected every weapon, he's maxed out everything. He can use anything on the fly. I'm just gonna say, when he wants to, he can have dual greatswords. After he lands a hit, or like knocks him back. Stop that. No. Bad door. You stay shut, you stupid, scary sucker. There we go. Should stay shut. If it opens up, I swear that's a ghost. That's a ghost. Anyway. When he, like say he uses the Ring Knight paired greatsword, which is probably the best greatsword in the game, don't at me, but I think it's the coolest looking. Okay. So, Izuku... That was loud. I'm sorry. Oh, so much better. Anyway, so when Izuku, started hearing things outside his coffin, he was becoming more and more alert to what was going on. So he was like, alright, what am I supposed to do here? He's thinking this in his head, like, if these are enemies, then I need to exterminate them extremely quickly. And then I need to find a place to rest. So, he was like, he started to think, dang it, Gwyn, why'd you sacrifice yourself? If you would have let the flames die, I wouldn't be in this mess. Because he knows the reason that he's undead is because Gwyn sacrificed himself to the fire the first time. If he hadn't have, he wouldn't be in this mess. So, Bakugo looks at the side of the casket where the green letter, the white letters have now completely vanished and are now on a light, have a light green hue and say something different. He's like, what is this supposed to say? I can't read it. And the only reason Nezu could read it is because he figured out how to translate it into a cipher by using things that look a lot like it. And I'm gonna say he hit the nail on the head. And then once Bakugo says that, he's like, whoa, it changed. And, they're like, what? It changed. It doesn't have that chicken scratch anymore. It has Japanese. It's Japanese kanji. He, starts reading it. The Ashimon will rise on the day of the nines. Not the day of nines. The Ashimon will rise with a fire in his eyes, determined to burn all demons that arise. Ashen lords of silver, of green flame, rise with these words once again. Nezu's about to yell, stop it, Bakugo. When Bakugo says the last words, Ashen Lord Izuku Midoriya. The moment the last word leaves Bakugo's lips, or whatever, once he says it, the casket, the green, the light green fire that was on the casket, exploded, like, insta fire. And the casket started to, turning to ash, and then they saw a skeleton hand rise out and it instantly start regenerating from, embers. And then, the ash clutched around the skin, creating a clawed fingertip. You know what I mean? Like, if you have claws, basically, his fingertips were clawed. And he did that on both sides. Ezekiel started to get up out of his casket thing. And then, once he was sitting up, I'm gonna say that the ash and the embers regenerated his face even quicker because it knew that he probably didn't want his face to be shown. So, once this happened, Lord, I'm tired. I'm sorry if I sound a little monotone. I'm tired. It's like 1 a.m. here. Anyway, he finally starts standing up out of his casket. I'm gonna say his body's starting to finish regenerating. You know what? Screw that. You know how I said it looks like the cape on Dark Souls 1? The Armor Sound Dark Souls 3 cover? No. It's plate, but it's like dragon scale plate. It still has the green, blacked out something with the stripe down the middle. But, it's... The face is... there's a slit for his eyes, but, it's completely black. No one can see inside. There's a cape. basically, he's wearing he kind of looks like an Abyss Watcher, but, oh my god, stop it. You know, he kind of looks like an Abyss Watcher, but, you know, cooler, because the Abyss Watchers, they look okay, but, you know, deku looking fresh. You know, he proceeds to start stretching, and then when he yawns, you know, it sounds so messed up. It sounds like a... You know, he's rubbing his, you know, he's like rubbing his armor together, showing like he's just woke up, and he's like... He proceeds to look at Bakugo, and you could hear like a sound coming from inside the armor, and he proceeds to walk out of the area where, you know, the casket was being held. And once he, you know, got to the floor, I'm gonna say he took out a sword, you know, the twisted sword that allows you to rest at bonfires and crap. Yeah. I'm gonna say, you know, he walks around and starts picking up sticks and stuff. You know, and then he uses pyromancy to make a little bit of ash and embers. Picks it up and then throws it on the stuff. And then he takes out the twisted thing and stabs it in there. You know, and then he holds out his hand, and then the bonfire just ignites. Right? You know, Izuku sits down, and he takes a deep, deep breath. Also, the bonfire isn't orange, it's green. You know, everyone's looking at him like, do we fight him? Do we run? You know, Bakugo, being Bakugo, is like, fight me! Fight me, you corpse! You know, when Bakugo was about to throw an explosion, I'm gonna say that's when, you know, one of the a great sword Izuku had, the paired ring knight great swords, appears in Izuku's hand and blocks the explosion, pushing Bakugo back. Now, the only reason he pulled out one is because he didn't want to take them both out. After that, the thing just disappears. And I'm gonna say, you know, when he wants to summon a weapon, the green fire that looks like it's the green sun flame that's on his chest spreads to like wherever he's, you know, to his hands. And whatever he's trying to make is kind of like made out of green fire and embers. And it looks like super cool. So, and when he wants to dispel it, you know, it just kind of poofs and then gets sucked back in. You know, honestly, Izuku gets up, turns around to face Bakugo, you know, and then he lights his hand on green fire and looks at his hand, and is like, you know, he tilts his head sideways and is like, I'm gonna say, you know, he ignites his left hand, because why not? And he puts them together, and then it just starts creating like a really big green fireball. Well, no, he doesn't make a really big green fireball. He just makes a green fireball out of his right hand and throws it at Bakugo. Bakugo does dodge, but he felt the heat so much. You know, he was hit by the heat, which burned his, you know, his clothes are singed. He's like, I wasn't even near it. What the heck is this guy's quirk? You know, Izuku is like, you know, he's thinking, weird language. You know, he looks at I'm gonna say, God, I've been doing a lot of these. You know what, screw it. You know what? Never mind. Actually, that might be a good idea. Hmm. 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 You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna say, uh, you know, he looks at Mina. I don't think I've done a Mina one yet. No, I haven't. You know, Deku Mina. I don't think I've done one of those yet. If I have, comment down below. Oh wait, that was Hollow Knight. Crap. Uh, it can't be Froppy because his quirk is fire. Uh, 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 hmm. Give me Nejire, because I already did Nejire. I got it. Illusion chick. I don't remember her name. I'm gonna look it up. That's her name. Cammy. Got it. Boom. From Genius. You know, he looks at Cammy. You know, they can tell he's looking at Cammy. And Cammy notices this. And, you know, she's a little spooked. And she's like, yo. You know. Then, he just disappears for everyone and appears right in front of Cammy. Looking oddly perplexed. You know, tilting his head from one side to the other. I say he stands up and he's towering over Cammy. You know, he's around like All Might sized. Because look, Izuku is gonna be a monster. You know, he holds his hand up to his helmet and makes it disappear. You know, one of his eyes is a very, very light red, while the other one is almost a pitch black red. And they can see the marking of the phoenix covering most of the right side of his face. You know, he still has green hair. No, it's good. There's a really light colored green eye, while a really dark colored red eye, because I want to make him kind of look like Izuku, you know. You know, he's staring at her very intently. You know, she's like, what do you want? You know, he repeats, what do you want? And she's like, for you to back up. You know, Izuku stands up and backs up a little bit, and then he closes in a little bit. He's like, you know, he tilts his head, and there's like, I don't know, some weird little crackling noises, because, you know, his armor does have like green embers occasionally like appear and then slowly disappear. You know, she's like, wait, do you understand me? You know, Izuku nods, and then she asks, can you speak my language? You know, Izuku shakes his head no. And she's like, well, how'd you do it then? And then he repeats, well, how'd you do it then? You know, everyone's like, wait a minute, he can copy what we say. And, you know, Bakugo turns around and says, stop ignoring me, you corpse! You know, and, listen, if you want to make Izuku mad in this, you only need to say one thing. You only need to call him one thing. A dumb corpse. This makes him very upset, because he knows he's a corpse and all, but it's still really offensive. It's essentially like a racial slur. That's not okay. Like, okay, how would you feel if you were in Izuku's shoes, a random kid you've never met before woke you up from your, you know, eternal sleep and started calling you a stupid, rotting corpse? Like, you'd be pretty upset. Like, bro, you woke me up. Like, what do you want? I could, you know, I can tear you in half without even a thought. You know I can burn you alive. You know, and, like, come on. Okay, I get it's Bakugo, you know it's Bakugo and all, but still, it's a little insensitive. You know, Izuku hears this, he starts cracking his neck, he turns around, and I'm gonna say, the ashes start remaking the mask, the helmet, and I'm gonna say, with his right hand out, he creates the Dragon Slayer's bow. He pulls out a freaking javelin-sized arrow, pulls it back, and then, lightning? Remember, miracle magic, yay! No, I forgot the fourth path. The fourth one is sorcery. The fifth one is flame magic. The true ember magic. Anyway, so using sorcery, he electrifies the arrow, and then he fires it. And right before it hits Bakugo, it instantly turns to ash. Bakugo is now scared crapless because he could have died. Like, legit, this man would be dead if Izuku wouldn't have stopped it. He had it aimed in his head and everything. Izuku was using a spell that's similar to, like, Bloodlust, like, on another level Bloodlust, right? Which froze Bakugo in place. Bakugo was not moving. He would have died where he stood. There's no way he would have won. He can't win, okay? It's just bluntly obvious. No one can beat this guy. And they know it. Anyway. So, he, after scaring the crap out of Bakugo, he turns back around and looks at Kami, making his helmet he keeps his helmet on. He lifts a finger and touches Kami on the head. He instantly learns their language. And he's like, he knows everything about the world now. Well, everything that she knew. And it wasn't much, so Izuku was like, then he remembered something about a mouse named Nezu that was smarter than anyone. He began looking around the room, and then right by, a really big guy, and I'm gonna say, All Might didn't have his fight with, he had his fight with All for One, in round 2, but he didn't get injured miraculously. Izuku then begins walking towards, Nezu. All Might's like, stop right there, villain. Izuku grabs All Might's face and then pushes him away like he's absolutely nothing, only concerned with Nezu. And once he arrives at Nezu, he bends over, not really, he crouches down and then touches Nezu's head, and then, he now knows everything and how to speak Japanese very, perfectly. He stands up and he's like, oh man, this sucks. I'm woken up from over 1 million years of slumber by a freaking blonde kid. Ugh. Everyone's like, what? And Nezu's like, so you can read our minds. Izuku holds up a finger and says, no, I can go in your mind. With a single touch, I can alter anything I see fit. You knew so much about this place, it's only fair that I tell you what I know. Maybe later. I'm tired. almost a million years of slumber will really do that to you. No, almost a billion years of slumber will really do it to you. You know, Izuku was like, ugh. Anyway, so why did I get woken up? You know, and the moment he says woken up, he's, his head shoots up. He spins around towards the door. He yells, "Get away from the door!" They're like, "What? Get away from the..." Oh, screw me. Then I'm gonna say he just uses ash to pull them out of the way. He creates chains out of ash and then just pulls them away. Right as a really big fire demon walks through the door. By walks, I mean he just charges through the door. Izuku is getting very upset by this. He's like, after almost 2 billion years of slumber, I get 1 minute to rest, a kid tries to blow me up, and now there's a fire demon. Can I not catch a break? He's getting really upset, if you couldn't tell. So, he takes out the the ring paired greatswords. I think that's their name. The lava greatswords. And then he proceeds to start running at the monster. He jumps up. I'm gonna say right as the monster's about to attack, he shifts one of them to a shield, bashes it, and while it's staggered, I'm gonna say he stabs it in the gut with one sword, rips it in half, and then when it falls, he stabs it in the head with the other, and then ignites it, and then stabs the other one, and then ignites that one, causing it to explode. Fire starting to go everywhere, and then slowly starts to get sucked back into Izuku. He's like, oh yeah, that's good. It's been a while since I've had a good meal. Hey, anyone know where that thing came from? He sees the giant gaping hole in the ground. He's like, oh, huh, you built this place right on top of the gate to the underworld. Everyone's following him as he's walking over there. He crouches down and he's like, man, that's a deep pit. Huh. Anybody got a ladder? Can you just jump down it? He's like, no, fall damage is I may be nearly immortal, but fall damage will kill me. And I don't like dying, it hurts. Like, wait, you can come... What do you mean dying hurts? He's like, do you know how many times I've died? I've lost count. What was the number I lost count about? I think I lost count at around 1 million? No. 2 million. And they're like, jeez. He's like, I know. Half of those are because of bosses. Because of the Lords of Cinder. Immediately after he says that, he's like, wait. Are they alive? No. No, they can't be alive. He's saying this as he's kind of slowly backing up. Cammy's right behind him, and she's like, what do you mean, Lords of Cinder? He starts, freaking out a little bit because he's traumatized. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. He may have been undead and completely hollow, but that doesn't mean he was unfeeling. See, after the almost infinite amount of times he's died to them, he fears them with every fiber of his being. Even though he knows he's stronger, he'll overthink anything if it comes to the Lords, because that's how he was made. That's how it works. That's how his brain works. He's like, if I want to beat them, I have to outsmart them. I can't just use brute force. I'll lose, and then I'll die, and then I'll keep dying. He's pretty upset. He freakied out. He freaky tikied out. I'm gonna say Cammy, you try, uses an illusion to calm him down somehow. Of giving him a feeling of warmth. Which, I mean, the guy's made of fire, but still, it kind of works. She's like, are you okay? And, he's like, I'm good. Thanks, kid. He pats him, Cammy's head and rubs it a little, messing up her hair because I'm saying she forgot her hat that day. Everyone's like, how did you calm him down? And she's like, I have no idea. What'd you see in the illusion? And he's like, fire. And they're like, what? Well, I am unkindled. Well, I was. Fire always made me feel at home. Could be because of this mark on my neck. He pulls down, his armor a little to show the green insignia of fire. The mark of the unkindled. Sorry, I was looking at something. Anyway, they're like, so, is that why you're still alive? He's like, yeah. When I died, this thing kind of got thrown onto me. And they're like, what do you mean, thrown onto you? He's like, okay, short history lesson about my time. According to your logic, almost a nearly infinite amount of years ago, there were creatures known as the Lords of Cinder, made to protect the fire of the First Age. This fire granted everyone not eternal life, but granted them the ability to sketch their own path into the world. Now, there was a constant problem about certain people becoming things we call hollified. I was one for a little while, and I kind of got burned out of my system. These hollows were mindless husks, what you guys call zombies. They can't be put down, only temporarily though. Lords of Cinder are immortal. They die, but they eventually come back. On the last cycle, when I was assigned to gather the power of the Cinders, the Lords of Cinder, and reignite the fire, something happened. When I went to let the fire consume me, something happened. The fire was weak. The last bearer barely made it to 100 years. Every creature, even other humans and undead who hadn't been hollified, were freaking out. When I was awoken, I had regathered all of the cinder, the Lords of Sin, and ignited it, probably for the last time. It would barely move. It took it so long. And then suddenly, a green flame ignited from within it, engulfing me entirely in a matter of a second. And then all of my world, all of every world that was created was engulfed in this green flame, erasing it all. For some reason, my ashes created a new world. This one. If the Lords of Cinder are back, that means the flame in your world is somehow dying. Or had just been ignited, and they're already trying to find a way to keep it lit forever. Then again, if I hadn't, I would have been in a constant loop of death. You know, everyone's like, what do you mean, death? He's like, okay, I'll rephrase that. If I had not let if I would have let the flames die, my world would have gone into the Dark Age. And I guess by the green fire, the Dark Age did happen. But the old gods and the new gods were spared. Unfortunately. And I guess the Dark Age ushered in your people. And all of the undead humans in my time were erased. Unless I'm the flame itself, then your flame's gonna die real soon. And they're like, what do we do? No idea. I haven't had to deal with a green one dying. And again, I've only had to deal with 4. Lords of Cinder would probably be better at this than me. But I did kill them. So, I guess I'm the best you got. They're like, All Might's like, great, we have a rookie. No, not All Might. Endeavor's like, great, we have a rookie to save we have to watch our rookie save our world. Which is completely wrong, because Izuku is their world's fire. Okay? Just throwing that out. You see, he can't die because he's unkindled. But because of the green fire, his body became kindled. So, essentially, their flame is immortal, and it can't die. So they don't have to worry about it going out. They won't figure this out until all the other Lords of Cinder are dead. Well, actually, the first Lord of Cinder won't fight back. Izuku will notice this and will be like, wait, no, never mind, spoilers for later. Anyway, that's gonna be all for this time, guys. I think this is over like an hour long. If it is, oof. If it isn't,